Good morning. Welcome to Hobby Evolution, episode 674. Welcome to a Wednesday. It's trash day. It's hump day. It's the day after bar trivia. But I didn't stay out late. Didn't over serve myself. Although we went to, and I'll get into trivia night, really cool place that I had never been. A lot of fun. Sucked at trivia. Actually, did respectful. We did respectful. I'll get into trivia today. We've got John in the house. Good morning, afternoon, and good evening. What was that from? That's like a line from, is it from, was that Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live Weekend Update? Good morning, afternoon, and evening. That's what, I know that's got to be from something. Ed, good morning to you. Terry, what is up? Johnny Boy Cards in the house. Zach and Porter, good morning. Happy Wednesday. Abraham in the house. When I woke up this morning and I was getting ready, what's up, card hobbyist? Truman Show. Oh, yes. Yeah. Truman Show. And I know that's like I think that's like a love-hate movie. Like either you love it or you hate it. I love Truman Show. Paige and Deanie Bean, what's up? Good morning. Today I was trying to think of a topic this morning, and it was just like empty brain. Like I felt like trying to come up with a topic for today was, and I do get like this. I get like hobby block, not writer's block. I get hobby block. I felt like the scene in Wayne's World where they're like in like, howdy y'all, we're in Texas. And then all of a sudden it's a picture of Delaware and they're like, hey, we're in Delaware? That's what I felt like today. What am I going to talk about? But I get a hobby block. And when I get hobby block, the reason I get hobby block is because I'm so in the zone, laser focused on shipping and listing, listing and shipping, shipping and listing, listing and shipping. And that's what I've been doing this week. There has been some issues with Card Dealer Pro that are lingering. But I will say there's been issues, and I'm just going to be, straight up front. I'm going to talk about the positives and the negatives. And right now there's some negatives with Card Dealer Pro. And it's really hampering my efficiency in getting listings up, which is, especially yesterday, was disappointing because I was caught up on shipping for a moment, and I had some extra time to get those listings up. And I was battling some of those issues. However, the guys at Card Dealer Pro have been like super responsive, working through the issues with me, like explaining what's going on. Communication is key. Like there's going to be issues. I sell on eBay. I have issues come up a lot. I shouldn't say a lot. Hey, buy my cards from my eBay store. I have issues all the time. No, I'm not saying that. But I know a lot. I'll see on social media like, oh, I bought this card and the seller says he lost it. That happens. It's common. Especially when you're dealing with like a lot of inventory. Sometimes it gets misplaced. A couple times since even with my foolproof method of box 1, tab A, tab B, etc., I'll be in that zone. And I'll drop a card, or I'll drop like I'll pull a pile out of, tab C, and then I forget it's tab C. So and once I realize I did that, I have to be cognizant of, okay, and then I go back, and I mean, it's pretty I forget what episode I'm on between writing it in the title and hitting the live button. Like, hey, it's episode, I can't remember. So I have to go back and look. It's like, oh, that's box 1, tab C. So that happens, like misplacing cards. It happens. But just communicate those issues. And Card Dealer Pro, there's been lingering issues, and I think Ed mentioned he's been having the same. I think it's just site-wide over the last few days. And they've been super communicative, explaining what's going on. That's positive, and you work together to get these issues, and also share the issues you're having. And so I had an upload yesterday, and it was identifying, like, vintage was okay. Like, I listed, and I can talk about the vintage I found out of the Goodwill pallet yesterday. Um, there were, like, I don't know, 20 or 25 vintage, and they were fine. But it was the modern Panini, and I'm talking football, that the AI was not identifying, and it was thinking it was either not identifying at all, or it was thinking it was a baseball card. Um, so I, passed on, okay, hey, out of the 100 cards, it was perfect on the vintage, but it was the modern Panini products. So, that gives them a little insight. Okay, there might be an issue with this. So they can tinker around on the back end. So anything with AI there's going to be some challenges, especially early on, and it goes on. Now, with that said, the football I was having issues with, but basketball, I uploaded like 200 cards on, I think, Monday, and the accuracy was like 93%, which is great, amazing, awesome, love it. But the football, there were some struggles. So let's go into the chat. So those are my issues with Car Dealer Pro, but they've been super communicative, and that's important. Communication is key. Speaking of Car Dealer Pro, I'll be on with them on Twitter Spaces tomorrow morning, 9 a.m. Central. It's right on Twitter. It'll be my first time, like, being on a Twitter Space. I've listened to a few, but my first time actively participating. Herman, what is up? We talking movies. I was asking what the quote was. Good morning, afternoon, and evening. For some reason, I was thinking it was Chevy Chase on Saturday Night Live, but it was from the Truman Show. Truman Show. Royals 417, what's up? Delaware, the new place where cards go to die. Right, that's where all the vaults are, or PSA warehouses. Not another teen movie. Herman, there you go. He's got a new DVD to watch thanks to a trading card database trade. Victor, what's up? Happy Wednesday to you. Card Hobbyist says, last night Hobby Hotline said all the card vaults are in Delaware. I was not aware of that. Vaults are interesting, and I only have a small like knowledge of vaults, and because I had in my previous life, working in transportation, I had to deliver, and I don't even know what client it was for. But one of the shipments I set up for them was to basically a vault, and they had to go through all these security clearances. We had to, and this is I'm not going to say again, this isn't common, but it's not uncommon. That they had, like, we would have to get, like, the driver's name, driver's license. They would have to do, like, background checks on the truck drivers, which is common, obviously, in secured locations. You don't want just anybody driving into your highly secured complex. So we had to do all that, and it was to a vault. And so I was looking up, and I've tried to go back and look, because it's basically like, it's like a storage facility, but like for super high end, expensive, protected goods and different things. But I think you could also, like, if you had, I don't know, like the Declaration of Independence. I don't know what's something that needs to be protected in a vault. You could rent a vault in this, and it's in the mountains somewhere in, like, is it Tennessee? I think it's like eastern Tennessee in the Appalachian Mountains. But it's a huge, and it's really cool. Like, it's in the mountains. You would never know, because it's like all hidden away and underground, and there's like one gate to get in, and then it's just like all underground. It's pretty fascinating. I wish I could find, if anybody knows what I'm talking about, let me know in the chat. But I was just doing some digging because it was not for my clients. That was not a common, background checks on truck drivers was not common for the clients that I serviced. So I was like looking into the facility, and it's like, whoa, this is really cool. Let's see. Ed says, I can attest to the lingering Car Dealer Pro issues. It is annoying. ATX is in the house. He says matching issues are killing me. They are working on it. And hopefully it'll be back up in at the rate it was, a week ago, very soon. But yes, it is killing me. By the way, Ed or ATX, if you're having those issues, reach out to them and let them know. And then I'm sure they can cut you some slack on your subscription price. I shouldn't say that. Ask them. I have zero involvement in Car Dealer Pro or Collect, so I can't speak to that. But if you are having issues, reach out because they are very responsive. That's a better word than communicative. At least I can say responsive easier. So they are very responsive. Reach out to them. Let them know of the issues you're having, and let them know. David, what is up? Happy Wednesday to you. DR says, Bo, to be clear, if you get to scanner, let's see. If you get to scanner, do you have to have Image Shack to make it work for bulk uploads? Okay, so that's a great question. If you're using File Exchange on its own, yes, you will need Image Shack. There may be some other basically you need a image host that works with eBay. So Google Photo, like the free ones, don't work with eBay. So it will not work with Google Photos. There's a couple other big ones that it will not work with. As of several months ago, when I was using it regularly, Image Shack was the only one that it was not the only one. It was the cheapest option out there because it's like $16 a year. So that's like $1 a month. However, which reminds me, I need to cancel my subscription because you don't need Image Shack if you're using Car Dealer Pro, because it's Car Dealer Pro becomes the host. Short answer is yes. Long answer is maybe, I guess. Let's see. Ed says, I talked with Fred at Car Dealer Pro, and he was confident the issues would be resolved soon. I agree they are great to deal with. I'm willing to be patient with them while they work it out. Absolutely. Fred's great. Ted, Fred, and David. Those are the guys that I've talked with over at Collects and Car Dealer Pro. They are awesome. ATX adds in, the customer service is exceptional. That's awesome to hear. Glad to hear it. Let's see. Ed says not picking up any panini from my end. Okay, so I'm having similar issues, and I think what I'm going to do in the meantime is just avoid panini, because it does seem like my basketball uploads were like I said, Monday was like 93% accuracy on basketball, and some of the inaccurate listings were just, it had like SGC or PSA in the title, and it was listing as graded. So it was just a couple little clicks where it wasn't like I was not having to fill in every column. So it was very high rate, very happy with that. The football on the panini, not so much. So maybe today when I tackle some more listings, I'll keep that in mind and avoid panini. Terry says, I started trying Car Dealer Pro yesterday. It seems clunkier than Chronazio, but I'm trying to work through that. I'm trying to decide the higher Chronazio price is worth it. And that's interesting. And I think each of us have like a different, I don't know, not perception, but just it's because I felt Chronazio was clunky. I've tried Chronazio like 3 times, and it just, the learning curve for me with Chronazio, it was just, it seemed more difficult. I started Car Dealer Pro. Like I heard, I was recommended to Car Dealer Pro through Don from Fujitsu, and he actually worked with both Car Dealer Pro and Chronazio, and so he was, because I was kind of like asking him about the two, and I'm like, okay, I've tried Chronazio, let me try Car Dealer Pro. When I started using Car Dealer Pro, it was like, boom, simple. Like I was able to become super efficient. That's a professional term. Super efficient. I was able to become super efficient, like right away, like within a day. Just a few runs, and boom, I had it down. Like boom, this is easy. I clicked like, hey, I just felt Carnazio was clunky, and it was just like it was just I felt the opposite. And that's that's how each of us are. We look at things and we work around things a little differently. Terry said, I did a scan of 2022 tops. Carnazio got 98 of 100 right. Car Dealer Pro only got 4 of 8 I tried. Right now, if you've been tinkering with Car Dealer Pro within the last 5 to 6 days, give it some time. Because right now is not a good time to compare. Because Car Dealer Pros, they essentially what Car Dealer Pro did last Thursday, they ran an update that was supposed to become more accurate and more efficient. But what happened was it became what it is. It's not accurate nor efficient. So give it time. Do not compare right now. Do not compare Car Dealer Pro with Carnazio. At least from last Thursday through today, do not compare the two, because Car Dealer Pro's working out some issues. John says AI needs practice. Exactly. It just needs practice. We're talking practice. ATX says, is there a link to the Twitter space so I can bookmark it? I don't know. Let me see. I can get you a link to I think it's to be brutally honest with you, I have no idea how Twitter spaces work. I think it's going to be through collects, but I don't know how I don't know how Twitter spaces work. Let me see. They tweeted something out yesterday, I think. Actually, it's probably faster if I just go. Oh, there we go. Here, let's copy this. I don't know if this is going to help, but there's a link to the tweet they sent out. Cooter's in the house. What is up? Good morning, Cooter. Paige and Deanie Bean says, Dean wants to know if you have seen any cool birds, because we saw a bald eagle flying near our house yesterday. I've not seen that cool of a bird. No. We do get some cool birds, though, because my neighbor has like a ton of bird houses. So I do see some unique birds. I haven't seen too many now now that it's getting into September. Every once in a while we will get and usually only happens once or twice a year, sandhill cranes, which are really cool. And they call them like the ribeye in the sky, which when I first saw them, they're pretty common in this general area. And I was Googling them, and they would spend, so the last so my last job, the office that I started, we moved offices a couple years ago, but the first office, we were on the second floor, and I had a window. My office was next to the window, and my desk, and so the sandhill cranes would be like, and we're on the second floor, down below, and there's like a dentist office below us, and they would all day, like half the day, they would stare at the window, because they were like looking at the reflection. They thought they were like, usually they would be like hissing at the window, just because they were seeing themselves in the reflection, thinking it was like other sandhill cranes. So those are unique, and we'll get them like walking through our backyard. Like usually when they fly in, like in the spring, like I'll see them in the backyard. And then that's it. And they're like, this yard sucks. Moving on to the next one. So we get sandhill cranes. We have a lot of hawks. Like every neighborhood in this vicinity is called Hawks something. Hawks Landing, Hawks Meadow, Hawks Black Hawk, everything hawk. So, but I haven't seen any cool birds lately. Let's see. John says these companies are marketing themselves as being altruistic. Everything is meant to separate you from your money. Yep, that's business, baby. That's business. Show me the money. Let's see. ATX says, let's see. ATX says, I mean, really, that's what I'm doing with, I want to separate you from your money so you can buy my card so I can make your money. I mean, that's like every business. ATX says trying 2022 baseball cards, now uploading 339 cards. I will update shortly to see how many match. Let's see. ATX, I'm curious what scanner you're using. Just I'm using the 7030 still. Looking to get that 8170 soon. That 70s card show says there's a vault in Norway that stores seeds. I have heard about that. Amazing concept meant to kickstart civil action after a nuclear or meteor strike. I fear they'll find PSA slabs instead, right? What'd you do with the seeds? ATX says that sounds like that's like a modern version of the Twilight Zone right there. We traded all the seeds for PSA 9 bull cards. ATX says, you can make a personalized title template and description template. Yes, which is awesome. Added, also, I've noticed with Card Dealer Pro that if you let your batch sit a few minutes, it will match more. I did notice that. So over the weekend, Saturday morning before the card show, I uploaded the basketball and it was showing it was like all messed up. The count was messed up. It was only matching like 10%, 20%. When I came back Monday to my computer and like refreshed the website, it was like a 95% match. And same with the football batch. I did 2 football batches yesterday, and the first one did the same. Like it was all wonky. Took the dog for a walk, came back in, and it was more accurate. It was probably sitting at that like 65%, a little lower than what my baseball has been. It was probably 60 to 65% accuracy on the football eventually. But again, it was a weight, so need to tighten that up. ATX says, also, I've noticed with, we just talked about that. John says proficient is what the kids say. Proficient. I like that word. Zach says, do we have to dress up if we attend the Twitter space? That's the great thing about the Twitter space is you just like hide in the background and listen. And then I think it's kind of like if anybody's used, oh man, I think I deleted it from my phone. There was an app and I was like listening consistent, and Brian Gray was always on it. There was an app and it was like rooms with an app inside this app, and it was just like it was basically just like a chat room, like audio. Like you would just get on, you'd be on your phone, like I could just be here like talking about nothing. And so that's kind of like what Twitter Spaces is. And you see like on the actual space screen, like and it's all on Twitter. I'm going to see if there's any Twitter Spaces. Like I'll just see it like pop up on my Twitter, like, oh, here's the spaces that are going on. I don't even know how to access it though. I guess, yeah, it's just live audio convos. You can join whenever, wherever. And so you can sit in the background. There's probably, and I don't know how, like, again, I've only listened in on like 1 or 2. You can like raise your hand, like you can click, like it's kind of like a Zoom call, maybe, or conference call. I get more conference call where you can like click the raise your hand, and then the host will be like, oh, ATX Treasure Chest has a question, and then you go on and you're like, hey, what the hell's going on with the scans? And boom. So that's a very unscientific way to explain Twitter Spaces because, frankly, I don't know what the hell they are. They're audio chat rooms, basically. Let's see. ATX says, I understand that we must be patient, but at $200 a month, it's hard to be patient. I agree, and that's why I say reach out to them and say, hey, can you cut me some slack here? And I can't speak for them, but I would assume it's kind of like anything. Like if your cable goes out for like 3 days, wouldn't that be hell if your TV goes out for 3 days? But if you call Spectrum, Charter, Comcast, whoever, and if you get through the phone bank and get to somebody and say, hey, my TV's been out for 3 days. I guess say it nicely. Like, can you cut me like 3 days off can you prorate my bill? And they will. So I can't speak for every company in existence, but toss that out there because yeah, I agree. It's it's killing my momentum, and I'm sure it's killing anybody else that uses its momentum as well. John says Andrew P&D lives near Hawk Mountain, I think. Just dropped him off at school. He missed it. Ah, bummer. ATX says the Epson 400i. Herman says you can request to speak. That's where I got to talk to Dale Murphy on his Twitter space. Oh, very cool. That is very cool. So hopefully the chat carries. Oh, we're 25 minutes in. That's a good amount of time. ATX says, yeah, they are even good about giving extra scans, plus new program coming to not dock for unmatched scans and rewards. Oh, nice. See, that I was not aware of. That's cool. So last night we played bar trivia, which it's been a while, and I forgot. It's Miss Cleo on Twitter Space. We did when I worked in radio, and people. It's funny because a lot of radio stuff like morning show crap is scripted, and people are in on the joke. Okay, but sometimes it's not, and that's what makes it so great. And in one instance, when I was hosting a morning show, we did a bit. We did a morning show bit with Miss Cleo, not literally Miss Cleo, but a soundboard. Okay, so we kept promoting like you can talk to Miss Cleo, and it was basically using the soundboard. So Chris was my co-host. He would like, oh, Andy, do you have a question for Miss Cleo? Miss Cleo. And so this was completely legit. This guy was not in on the bit and calls in, and I don't know how it all goes. My co-host, I haven't talked to him in a while. It's been I don't know, probably during COVID when you were getting bored and calling old coworkers. But I know he recorded every single morning show that we did, and he donated it to the museum. They were doing like a local like media radio, TV, newspaper thing. So he's like, I just donated. He's like, they're all on cassette tapes. So we're going back to cassette tape era. So I'll have to reach out and say, and I have some like, I found a CD with our promos on it. Maybe I'll upload some to YouTube if I can figure out how to do that. I think the CD is still in my computer upstairs when I discovered it. Anyway, we did this Miss Cleo clip based on this internet soundboard, and this is like 2003 or 4. This guy gets on, and again, he was not in on the bit, and it just whatever he was saying worked perfectly with the sound bites we had of Miss Cleo. And I was like, Chris had to turn my microphone off, and I about peed my pants. I was laughing so hard because it was just lining up perfectly. And the guy that was on the line he thought he was talking to Miss Cleo, and she was saying these wacky things that made sense but didn't make sense. Like it was lining up, but it's like, wait, what? Now I need to reach out to Chris and be like, hey. And I wonder if he like uploaded any of I'm sure he has stuff like on a thumb drive because he like saved everything. He hoarded audio clips like I hoard baseball cards. I don't even know if I have, like I left a lot of my stuff in my house storage shed when I moved because I rented my house. When I moved to Wisconsin, I rented my house for like 2 years. And so I left like stuff like that in the storage shed in the backyard. And then my neighbor was like basically my like property manager. And so he's like, hey, can I use your storage shed? And I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like, there's a bunch of stuff in there. And I'm like, you know what? And it'd been like 2 years. I'm like, you know what? You can use the storage shed and just take what you want and throw the rest away. And I think my high school yearbooks were in there. Now, like looking, that's like I probably left some, and I know I left all my like audio tapes, most of them, in my store. Now it's like looking back, it's like, but in reality, I don't need that crap. It'd be nice on like mornings like this, like, hey, yes, well, I'd have to find a tape player. And how the hell do you hook a tape player up to a computer? I'm sure there's like USB cords now. But Miss Cleo reminds me of that skit we did, that morning show bit we did. Miss Cleo. I'm not a very good Miss Cleo impersonator. Let's see. I wonder if Miss Cleo knows that Daniel. You dip, Daniel? You dip? I think I get more and more cartoonish with that you dip, Daniel, as time goes on. I'll have to listen back to it again. Let's see. LOL, Miss Cleo knew for sure Daniel was gonna dip. So we did bar trivia last night. It'd been a while, and I forgot we did do a couple bar trivia nights like in the spring, I think, because the couple we went with, Dave, the husband, mentioned, he's like, yeah, we did the one at World of Beer where it was like turbo trivia, and I'm like, I looked up at the different league trivias for last night, for Tuesday night, and World of Beer still had like turbo trivia, and it's like, screw that. That was terrible because it was basically like they'd machine gun questions at you, and you had like one where usually the bar trivias we do, there's like 9 rounds. The first round is 9 questions, and so the first question is what's 2 plus 2, and then they play a song, and then at the end of the song you have to have your answers in. Hey, the answer's 4. And then question 2, they play a song, answer, question 3, and then you go on to the next batch, and then it's like 1, 3, 5 points, and it's broken up into like 3 sections in the first round. And then you have a halftime question, and then you have a second round and a final question, final Jeopardy type deal. But Turbo was like you had one song to answer all 3 questions. So it was very fast, and it was like we did a guys' night, and it ended up being turbo trivia, and it's like 8:00, and it's like trivia's over already. Like, now what do we do? I guess we're gonna just have to drink beer and talk to each other. Heaven forbid we have to actually just go to a bar and talk to one another and not play trivia. So we did bar trivia at a place called Hop House Brewery, which is I had never been to this location. So Hop House has a location in Verona, Wisconsin, which is just a few miles down the road from where I live. And that's where I bike. Like a lot of times when I bike, like I bike with a destination in mind, which is usually a brewery. So Hop House is one of those. And it's like when I saw Hop House, it's like, oh man, Hop House is small. Their menu sucks. Beer's good, menu sucks. In Verona. So this is the Fitchburg location, which Fitchburg's a little further out. And we get out there, and it's like, it's freaking huge. And there's like a huge outdoor patio. There's like fire pits, like connected to the patio outside. There's like grass area where you can play bags or whatever. And walked in, and there's just like huge room. I look at the menu. They've got great food on the menu. Like Verona location, it's like nachos and chicken fingers, and that's it. I don't even think they have burgers on the menu at the Verona location. So I was like, oh, damn, this is cool. So we played trivia. It's been a while. By the way, I had steak frites, which were amazing. And they had okra, not fried, but just okra. It was like the vegetables, the vegetable bed that the steak was on was okra, corn, and like roasted tomatoes. Oof, amazing. We had cheese curds. I tweeted the picture of the cheese curds. And so I tweeted this out, and I'm like, so I like don't tell any of my friends, like my non-hobby friends, that I like have a YouTube channel. So like it's like we're just talking like, oh, so like what's your day to day? Selling bait, like because most people are like, you sell like, what the hell do you do all day if you sell baseball cards? And so I talk about my YouTube channel. You know, it's like, well, I do a YouTube channel, and then I list and I ship and I ship and I list. And okra is that is not fried, is a slime bean, which it was very good. It was not too slimy. And so like I don't tell any of my friends that I have a YouTube channel. And so I was telling my friends that I had a YouTube. It's like my baseball card YouTube channel today is like my baseball card collection when I was 20. Like I didn't want, it was like a dirty little secret. It's like, I have a YouTube channel. I talk about baseball cards. Where it was like when I was 20, it's like, I collect baseball cards. And it was like this little secret. They're hidden away in the closet. Now it's like, I sell baseball cards and I have a YouTube channel. So they're like, oh, wow, that's cool. So we played trivia. One of the trivia questions. So I'm going to talk about the trivia questions. One of the categories was auto racing. And I'm like, what the hell? Auto racing. Like if it's not Dale Earnhardt, Richard Petty, Winston Cup, Jeff Gordon, driving in circles, that's what I know about auto racing. The question was, and I thought I was going to get it right. The question was something about stickers on a car and like, where's Ken when we need him? Stickers on a car. He would have been my phone a friend. Stickers on a car and like, oh man, something else. And it's like, no, you know, the wives certainly didn't know. Dave didn't know. I didn't know. And I'm like, I don't know, skid marks? And the answer was tire, which didn't make sense to me. But it's like tires make skid marks. So that was one. There was a baseball question. It was actually the free answer of the day. So if you go on the website, the league website, they have like one free answer. They don't tell you which question it is or what category it is. It's one of the 16 answers. But the answer, and I'm not going to share the answer, but the answer, and then when you got the categories, it's like, oh, this is going to be the free answer. So the category was baseball. And I think it was who was the only, and this is like, I'm sure everybody in here is going to know it. Who was the only manager to like manage two sons or something to that effect? And it's like, and plus I had already known, like I probably would have known the answer regardless. Cal Ripken Sr. What else was there? So the halftime question. This was like the unique question at trivia last night. The category was like cult TV shows or something. So the host of trivia gives us 4 character names, and we have to name the TV shows. And it was from TV Guide's top 25 cult classic TV shows. So cult classic is a clue that it's probably not going to be like Cosby Show, Seinfeld, Cheers, those type of shows. It's going to be a cult-like show. Another hint towards that was, and he said, now the first 2, you're probably all going to get right. But the last 2, you may all get wrong. So the first character was Captain James T. Kirk. Pretty obvious. The second character was Agent Mulder. Again, pretty obvious. So we knew both those right off the bat. By the way, it's Star Trek, Captain Kirk, Star Trek, Mulder and Scully from The X-Files. Then it gets tricky. Number 3 was Gabrielle. He did give a clue. Gabrielle was a sidekick on this show. It was top 25 cult classic TV shows. Gabrielle, a sidekick on a show. Like, no clue. No clue. And the 4th character was Cherry. Now, it wasn't spelled like the fruit. It was spelled Chary, I think. Cherry. So we got to, okay, blah, blah, blah. We know the first two, Captain Kirk, Mulder, X-Files, Star Trek. Easy. Gabrielle and Cherry. So we get two songs during this halftime trying to figure out who in the hell, what shows Cherry and Gabrielle were from. So we get talking, and I'm like, so initially we're talking, okay, it's got to be like, this isn't going to be like Friends and Seinfeld. This is going to be like, what, like cult like shows like Star Trek and X-Files. So along those lines. Mark has never watched X-Files. Me neither. I never watched an episode of X-Files either. But I saw the commercials all the time. Mulder and Scully. I never watched Star Trek either, but Captain Kirk. And I never watched 3 of the 4 shows that were the answers in this halftime. I did watch the 4th. So we're talking, and it's like, okay, it's got to be cult shows. Gabrielle is a sidekick. Okay, what's a cult? What's like a show that was popular but not like mainstream? So we're talking that out. I have no idea, Gabrielle, and I'm thinking, okay, there's a hint with Cherry. It's not spelled like a woman's name or a fruit. It's spelled weird. It's spelled cherry, like C8, like a chair. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, cult TV shows, chair, Pee-wee's Playhouse. There was a chair that talked on Pee-wee's Playhouse. I didn't remember the name, but I bet it was Cherry. So I'm like, it's got to be. It's got to be. There's no other logical explanation. All of a sudden, my wife throws out Xena Warrior Princess. And I'm like, what the hell? She's like, Lucy Lawless. She's like, but Gabrielle, I think, was the sidekick to Xena. And I'm like, another show I never watched. It was like Xena Warrior Princess was akin to Star Trek at like 9 p.m. on Fox when I was in junior high. When that show came on, I would rather watch the nightly news than Star Trek or Xena Warrior Princess or Hercules. That was another show that came on at like 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock on weeknights on Fox. So the answer obviously was, I'm sorry, I'll get to the point. Obviously, we know the first 2 answers. Gabrielle was, in fact, the sidekick to Xena on Xena Warrior Princess, and Pee-wee's Playhouse was the answer. Cherry was the talking chair. We got all 4 correct. There were 25 teams, and so he gets to the answers, and he's like 20 teams got the first 2. 1 or 2 teams got 3 of the 4, and only 2 teams got all 4 right. And it's like, well, we got 2 correct. And then all of a sudden he's like, X-Files and Star Trek. Okay, boom, boom. We knew that. Xena Warrior Princess. Oh my God. And so once he said Xena Warrior Princess, I'm like, we got all 4, because I know that Pee-wee's Playhouse is the answer. And it was. So we were in like, I don't know, 5th or 6th place at halftime out of 25 teams. And then we sucked in the second half. We got the final question wrong. I don't even remember what the final question was. So we finished, I don't know, 15th place. But there was only 4 of us. There's some teams, and this was a pretty highly competitive, where I think people like we used to do. Like we would go to trivia every week. So it was very competitive. Lost my train of thought. But it was just 4 of us. There's teams with like 10 people in there. So obviously with more people, you have more minds that have that know stupid things like Pee-wee's Playhouse and Xena Warrior Princess. John's got to go to a meeting. Have a great meeting in morning, or actually afternoon for you. Where are we at in the chat? Let's see. Mark Hoyle's in the house. Ed says, got to run. We'll catch the rest on replay. Thanks for joining. Zach and Porter says, you dip Daniel is the greatest gift I've ever received. Big question. Will Low Roller join your Twitter spaces? Ooh, that is a good. Where is Low Roller Scratcher? Where is Low Roller Scratcher? I wonder if you say his name 3 times, he emerges. Let's see. Cooter okra that is not fried as a slime bean. And I like it that way. And it was not too slimy. Let's see. Card Hobbyist says, I only like okra if it's fried or pickled. The baseball cards are literally in the closet. That is true. except in my house where they're like on my desk, in my office, on the coffee table in the living room that my wife hates, behind me, in the closet, on the floor, on the coffee table in the rec room, in the store. They're everywhere. Murray Wilson from the Beach Boys managed 3 sons. Same with the Jonas Brothers' father. My answers are valid. Not in the your answers are valid, but in the actual question, the question was like Major League Baseball. What Major League Baseball manager managed 2 sons? So yeah, I'm trying to go off memory. John says, what did trivia MCs do during COVID? Can they go back to doing that? This trivia MC was very over the top. Like, he took radio voice to the next level. It was, and he would get going so fast. I mean, he was kind of like the old school, like going back to the 60s radio. For those that I wasn't there, but with my background, just knowing what it was, what they said, like over the top, like, hey, you're listening to blah 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 blah, and just all this craziness. He was like that. I liked pre-COVID trivia nights because you actually had paper and you got a little exercise. You had to run the pieces of paper up to the MC at trivia. Now it's all done on your phone, and I don't like that. I like the paper better. I'm old school. I like to read a book, like a physical book. I like to read a physical newspaper, and I like my trivia on pieces of paper. Andrew's in the house. Good morning. Card Hobbyist Mark never watched X-Files, and Card Hobbyist never missed an episode. Balancing things out there. Let's see. Barry's in the house. Good morning, Barry. Card Hobbyist says the X-Files was the first time I ever heard of the chupacabra, and I spent the entire next day calling all my friends goat suckers. Let's see. Ricardo, good morning to you. Max, what's up? The last time I played bar trivia, the team that won had 20. Was pretty discouraging. That does suck. Like, you walk in and you're like, hey, we've got 5 tonight. We're doing good. And then there's a table of like 16. It's like, how the hell can you compete? And like a lot of times when we did weekly bar trivia, because, right up until like literally the last night of trivia before every restaurant shut down, like sometimes it was like we had 7 guys that were regulars and it's like only 2. It's like, well, it's Wednesday night. I'm playing trivia. Let's go. And one time it was just 1 guy, like the 6 others, none of us could go. And Adam's like, I'm just going to go by myself because it's Wednesday night. I'm going out, getting away from the wife and kids. I'm going to play trivia by myself. Let's see. Paige and Deanie Bean says, what is your rarest Cubs set? At first, I'm like, I have no idea, but I can actually answer that. The 1972, it's a minor league set. The 1972 Wichita Aeros team set, which has Tony La Russa. It also has Paul Russell. And they like completely butcher his name. And the set's it's unique because they made an error on 2 different cards and they corrected it, but kept both cards in the set. Which I didn't know I had the set until I was like looking at, I don't know, Trading Card Database or Beckett or somewhere. And it's like, I have 2 of this card, so I think I'm missing 2 cards. And when I looked, it's like, no, there's 2 cards of these 2 guys to make it a complete set. So that's probably the rarest set that I have. 1972. Is it Wichita Aeros? I think it's Wichita Aeros. It's the AAA affiliate to the Cubs. And those old minor league sets are pretty rare. Herman says we are missing some people in here. Yes, we're missing Low Roller. We're missing Jenny. Who else are we missing? We're missing some regulars. Let's see. Bo just likes killing trees for paper. Sad but true. Look at all the trees that are behind me. Killing trees for paper has kept plenty of cities in Wisconsin employed. There, Max brings up an excellent point. That's how Wisconsin is run. Paper mills everywhere. Let's see. Herman says, I thought it might have been the Red Lobster set. That's one of my favorites. The old Wichita ballpark had the light poles inside the outfield wall. So bar trivia was last night. That's about all I had. I didn't have anything else to talk about today, and I still went 50 minutes. Exciting day. Today we are going to the house that we're buying. We don't close until December, but we are meeting the general contractor and all of the subcontractors today for a walkthrough at the new house. So I'm excited to see that. So that's this afternoon. Looking forward to that. I'm going to do some more shipping and listing and shipping. Card show, no card show this weekend. The Madison card show is next Saturday, which reminds it's Wednesday, so I need to map out the layout. So next Saturday, Madison card show, 125 tables. Sheraton Hotel, John Nolan Drive, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m., 125 tables. Next Saturday, September 24th. And then the big Midwest premiere is a 2-day show in Loves Park, Illinois, October 15th and 16th, 250 tables, 2-day show at the Indoor Sports Center, which is freaking awesome. Indoor soccer field, turf floor. The Skybox Bar Restaurant overlooks the show floor. It's going to be awesome. October 15th and 16th in Loves Park, Illinois. It's only an hour west, right on the interstate from O'Hare. So again, that is what we're 1 month out. 1 month out. John says the card printers don't have. Oh shit, where am I at? The card printers don't have paper, but Bo's dive bars do, right? Max asks, are you staying around Madison? Yes, we're actually only moving 2 miles away. So it's basically Middleton. I think it's still a Madison address, but we live in right now I have a Verona address, but it's Madison School District. Across the street is Middleton School District. It's just all wonky over here on this side of town. But I think where we're moving is Middleton School District, Madison address, and it's like right on the border of Madison and Middleton on the far west side. Lacrosse in Green Bay this weekend. No show for you, though, I take it. I am not. I skipped out on Green Bay just because I've done, I think, 4 out of 5 shows, or 4 out of 5 weekends I've done shows. So I'm going to take this weekend off. And then next weekend is the Madison card show. And then the weekend after that, I decided I'm going to go to my hometown for homecoming. And I haven't been to a homecoming in 20 years, like a homecoming football game, not to the dance, to a homecoming football game. I haven't been to a homecoming dance in 22 years. Homecoming football game. I've said it before. My school, my alma mater, now co-ops. So we are no longer in football, the Anawan Braves. We're the Anawan Wethersfield Titans. Wethersfield in neighboring Kewanee, Illinois. They're like the host, the football host in the co-op. So they co-op in like half the sport. Like baseball, Anawan has a really nice complex for baseball. So they host baseball and softball. Wethersfield gets football and I believe track. And then they're standalone in volleyball and basketball. And I think and they might co-op in golf just because they have enough between the two schools. Anyway, Anawan used to only get one home football game a season. This year, Anawan gets 2 home games. They had one this past Friday night, and I was seeing like my friends post and pictures, and it's like, man, I miss a Friday night football game in my hometown. And when I was, a cool kid in college, and you'd go home like, hey, we're in college now, going to the high school football game, like, hey, what's up? You're playing cool. So did that, but probably 2002 was the last time, because then in 2003 I was working in radio, and every Friday night I was broadcasting football. So 2003 I was doing Monmouth Zippers football in 2003, and then 2004 through like 2009 or 10, I was doing Bushnell Prairie City. That's the football hoodie I'm usually wearing. BPC Spartans. And then I did Galesburg Silver Streaks. Monmouth Roseville Titans. And then after I left radio and went to work at the university, I did Western Illinois Leathernecks football for 3 seasons. So I was either preparing for a Saturday broadcast or on the road with the football team. So I never went back to a home football game. So like it's been like 20 years. So September 30th is the homecoming football game in Anawan. So I've got a text string with some high school friends. A couple of them still live in the area. So I'm like, hey, I think I'm going to come back for homecoming. Let's go back to old times and have some pregame beers on my mom's deck. My mom lives like literally 2 blocks from the football field. So we just walked down from the house. So looking forward to that. So I haven't been to a high school football game. And when I first moved to Madison, it's like, I'm going to go to a football game every Friday night. And then it's like, okay, I'm not going to do this. But I went to a Middleton football game in Middleton against, I don't even know who they played, maybe Verona. So yeah, I'm looking forward to going back to my hometown for a football game. Fall Creek in the house, what is up? He says, maybe you should see all of your non-Cubs cards to Chasing Cardboard so you can have a fresh start at the new house. They will pay him $14.91. So I do have to get rid of a lot of bulk, but I still have to like sort. And now it's like, man, it's September. I've still got, I think the timeline they gave us was it'll be move-in ready in May. So I've got some time, but again, I've got 3 million cards, and I don't know if I don't know how much time I really have. So I've got one buyer on the hook that wants to buy some bulk. I have seen some, like, just perusing. I was actually perusing Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist this morning, and I saw some bulk lots. Nick, I don't know if you're listening, but I saw Nick has a big pallet of cards listed on Marketplace. And I know that's been up for a couple weeks. And I went through a run where I was like, as soon as I listed it, like within a day, I was selling, a truckload of cards. And now that I see some sitting on Marketplace and Craigslist, it's like, maybe they're not selling as fast as they were during the summer months. So, but I do have one person that I'll have to follow up with, because it's been more than a couple of weeks. I thought I was going to be going through this. I thought I would have gone through this Goodwill pallet by now. My car's still full. I did go through some boxes yesterday because I Car Dealer Pro was not working accurately. So it's like I'm caught up with shipping. Now I'm going to sort through some more Goodwill pallets. And I was going through, they were the Fairfield boxes, but they were like opened. So it was like somebody was putting Fairfield boxes somewhere in like team lots, like it had Cowboys. So it's all Cowboys cards, and it was all like 90s. And there were some modern cards. It was actually a good mix. So if you're a team collector, and I don't know what price they had on them, because I'm sure they were trying to sell them. It was a nice mix of 80s, 90s, and modern football. And I was going through, and I should take a picture of and there's still like 50 in my car of these Fairfield boxes. And I'd gone through like 20 of them. And it's all like, I'm pulling a few out to put in like football quarter boxes. So there's nothing to like list on eBay. I mean, I could, like, I'll take them out of the quarter box eventually that don't sell out of my bargain boxes, list them on eBay for $1.50. But I'm going through, and it's like, I'm just going to dump these all in a box. I'm tired of going through all of these cards and pulling a few here and there to put in a quarter box. And then all of a sudden I'm on like box 21, and I go through, and it's like, there's some penny sleeves, and I get to them, and it's like 1957 Topps football. And there's like 25 50s and 60s football cards, and they're in pretty good shape. There's a couple that are like, little messed up or some creases. And actually the creased ones are like the more modern vintage, like 69 Topps. Like the 57s are in good shape. So I'm like, hey, this was worth going through 20 boxes of crap. And that's why I have to go through every single box, because I never know what I'm going to get, what I'm going to find. Paige and Deanie Bean says you need an employee. I'm not there yet, but yes, it's I wasn't my business plan year one, which is like 1 month, like literally 1 month away from my 1 year anniversary. I'm going to go back. I'm going to look at the numbers, which I have to do. My fiscal year ends at the end of this month. So I'm getting all of my numbers together for the accountant. And then October 15th, I'll review everything, see where things are trending. I thought by year one I would be in that place to hire somebody on a part-time basis. I'm still not there because the sales just aren't there. So volume wise, it's not where I thought it would be volume wise, where I projected. But it's still like, decent enough. But it's just not worth hiring somebody at this point. So, and then from year one, like I wasn't going to hire if something got way out of control. It's like just basically within year one, if it got out of my hands, you stop listing and just ship. It's kind of like what PSA, and you just shut, you turn the water off. So that was the plan within year one. If it got to that point, wasn't going to hire anybody. I was just going to turn the faucet off, and then at the 1 year mark, reevaluate and go from there. So that's where I'm at. ATX is looking at a lot of 150,000 cards here in Austin. Nice. Paige, we just talked about that. Brian asks, I'm late. Did you win pub trivia? No. We got like 15th out of 25 teams. It was a competitive league. It was just 4 of us. There were some teams with like 10, 12, 15 people on their team. So it was pretty competitive. We were in like fifth or sixth at halftime. Go back and listen to the replay. I'll share. I went a little long on it on the halftime question, which boosted us up to like 5th or 6th place. But in the end, we finished like, I don't know, 15th, 16th out of 25. John says, better have employee parking at the new house. Rick says, always interesting show. Thank you, Rick. I appreciate it. John says, you should hire Chris Gilmore from Vintage Breaks. Your work days would fly by. He might dip. He might dip on me. You dip? Why you would dip? So that's what I had for today. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for, as always, did you ship? Did you ship? Did you ship, Daniel? Why didn't you ship? So as always, great chat. Thank you so much. Have a great Wednesday. I've got to go take the trash out. It's trash day Wednesday. The link, I did put the link to my eBay store in the description. So check out my eBay store. Over 20, near 21,000. I dipped below. Dip's the new word. The hobby buzzword is dip. I dipped below 21,000 active listings, but there's about 25,000 cards in my eBay store, probably more if you take into consideration there's a lot of lots. So well over 25,000 cards in the eBay store. Buy 7 or more at regular price. Get an automatic 25% discount at checkout. That does not apply to accepted offers. I need to reach out to eBay because that's been kind of a headache, just getting that verbiage out there. So check that out. Just link to the eBay stores in the description. Hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Thank you for subscribing. I just surpassed 1,800 subscribers, so that's pretty cool. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Back at it tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Central for Hobby Evolution. Have a wonderful Wednesday.